If you want to be a goat farmer, you have to be willing to get up early. And if you want to make the best feta cheese around, you really have to be a goat farmer. At Rancher Acres, Randy and Cheryl Hiltz are raising about 85 purebred Saanen goats. Milking them twice a day. But in order to get the finest cheese milk possible, it takes far more than simply milking a goat. The goats need fresh water every day, as well as food, bedding, and some good old exercise. The goats are even sent out into the woods whenever possible to feed on the natural grasses and weeds on the farm. Milking the goats is a fairly routine task for both Cheryl and the goats. Milked 12 at a time, each goat is greeted with a fresh bowl of food while Cheryl attaches the milking machine to the goat's teats. Within minutes, each goat has been milked for the morning, and a fresh pail of milk is ready for production. Usually, the goats will be milked a second time in the afternoon. Once the pail is full, the fresh milk is transported to the main house. Then it's poured and stored in a storage tank to cool down. It's a continuous process of filling the cooling tank until the milk is needed in the cheese-making process. Rancher Acres produces a wide variety of cheese and goat's milk products, most of which starts in the pasteurizer. However, before any cheese can be made, the pasteurizer has to be thoroughly cleaned inside and out to ensure there is no bacteria to be found. Cleaning seems to be a big part of the cheese-making process. Once everything has been cleaned, Randy transports the milk to the pasteurizer. He does this the old-fashioned way, by bucket. Filling the machine 200 liters at a time. Once full, the pasteurizer slowly heats the milk to around 145 degrees Fahrenheit. This kills any bacteria that may be hanging around. This is a very important process that is regulated by the government. That means keeping strict records of the process. Using hot water in an outer chamber, the pasteurizer takes about half an hour to reach the proper temperature, and about 1 to 2 hours to cool back down. Cooling is helped along by replacing the hot water with iced water. Each batch of milk that's pasteurized is usually used for a single type of cheese. At Rancher Acres, most of the cheese making is done in small batches right in the pasteurizer. On most days, the farm is able to produce about 2 to 3 batches with Feta, which is the most popular cheese. For Feta cheese, the pasteurized milk must reach a certain temperature, and a bacteria culture is added to the milk. The milk then sits for an hour while the bacteria culture works its magic. Next, rennet, a hardening agent, and calcium are mixed in a container, then poured into the milk. This mixture will help solidify the milk, separating liquid whey and the curds, which are the solids that will be used in the making of the cheese. Once the rennet has been added, the milk needs to be left for another 50 minutes. Once it's ready, a cutting knife is used to cut the curd into smaller blocks, which helps separate the curd from the whey. Now the whey is drained from the pasteurizing machine. The whey is usually stored and later fed to pigs, but can often be used for other things too. Once drained, the curds are scooped from the pasteurizer and placed in plastic draining pans, which are first layered with cheesecloth. Some of the curds are placed in tubes and will be later sliced to make Feta coins or discs that are sometimes marinated with other flavors. Once the pans are full, they sit to drain. Later, they're flipped and sprinkled with salt to allow them to drain more rapidly. The finished Feta cheese is left overnight, then placed in a salt, water, and vinegar solution known as brine. The brine acts to preserve the cheese as well as give it that signature salty taste. The cheese is left in the brine for 1 to 4 weeks before it's packaged. To package the cheese, Cheryl first cuts, then weighs the cheese before placing it in a pre-labeled container. Once packaged, the cheese products are all stored for later delivery to a number of local shops and restaurants, as well as for sale at Rancher Acres booth at the Halifax Seaport Market.